Hey, good evening, everybody. It's 5 o'clock somewhere here in Oldsmar. This is Mike from Mike's Weather Page. Thanks for coming to our YouTube channel. We're going to do a tropical update. And it looks like we are still watching potential major hurricane entering the Gulf of Mexico next week. Hermine just got named out in the far Atlantic, so it looks like this is going to be an eye storm for Florida, possibly Ian. So Florida has had a history with eye storms. A lot of strong storms over the years have been Ians, or eyes. This will be Ian. All right, here's the latest track. This one just came out. 5 o'clock, we got a new track from the NHC. There'll be a new one at 11 o'clock tonight. And we saw a little bump to the north. We've been seeing these little trends. You might say west, but it's north on the land. But little bumps to the west means a little bit longer out in the Gulf of Mexico, meaning a little farther north for potential landfall. Still showing a 115 mile an hour storm. Probably is conservative in my opinion. We're going to see this whole area right here. We're going to watch close. There could be some pretty intense intensification to watch for. Nothing official with that. Just some of the modeling is suggesting that we could see something a little bit stronger. Put it to you that way. We got hurricane watches for the Caymans. They could start seeing Sunday night into Monday. We could have a hurricane down near the Cayman Islands to watch. They're probably going to be under hurricane warnings. And then Jamaica's right on that bottom side that we've been showing a lot of, and that's how the models are going. So Jamaica's hard to tell if they're going to get tropical storms or not. So here's everything. Let's take a look. I'm going to use tropical tidbits tonight for everything. So thanks to Levi and Tropical Tidbits. This is a current look. You can really see the satellite spinning about right here. There's a lot of wind shear blowing in from the east. A lot of this is actually outflow from the upper jet stream from Fiona. I'll be glad when that storm is done. I can't I butcher the name. But anyway, this wind shear is expected to be reduced here overnight, and we're going to be entering a lot more favorable condition for our storm to intensify. So there's pretty much no doubt this thing's going to intensify. It's going to be entering all this blue and green, very light sheared environment. So it's going to start organizing, almost no doubt. Some of the latest spaghetti models are here, and you can see a general trend is still pointing towards the Florida Peninsula. These are your 18Z. There'll be another set of spaghetti models at 9 p.m. tonight, Eastern. We're starting to see a little pattern, though, developing of our system maybe slowing or even stalling or reacting to the front here, flattening out a little bit and creating a blockage. Could be very interesting. We could see, some prolonged rain events if this thing indeed stops. So just throwing that out there, that's kind of been a little trend developing. The other trend, of course, is a little bit ticks to the north on landfall from the NHC. Very few are pointing too far south. It doesn't mean the Keys, but the trend has been ticking a little bit west, which means north. And we'll watch for trends. Some more spaghetti models here. You can see, general central western Big Bend area, and the NHC is a little bit. There's a great adjustment right there. I just hit refresh. You can see that jump north with the red line, which is the NHC lines. But still, they are on the eastern side of some of the majority, you might say. The Euro is still coming in a little bit below here. I want to show everybody. So here's a Euro ensemble list. We look at these a lot. You're starting to see some weaker members showing a little slower movement here, and intensify with a possible stall. Euro starting to pick up on that a little bit. You can see just a few of them. Majority are obviously curving. The other thing that the Euro has been showing a lot is the possibility we could see some sort of impacts for the East Coast, and that's a real possibility if we get any sort of steering that brings this system back a little bit to the north. You're definitely going to want to watch it on the East Coast. The latest Euro, as a matter of fact, here we go. Let's take a look at it. You can see what I'm talking about. Euro is showing lower intensity earlier today, and it caught up to 949. That's pretty intense. If you're curious what 949 is on the old Saffir-Simpson scale, It used to be right there, low Category 3, possibly inching close to 4. 944 is a Category 4. So definitely increased intensity. Cuts it through the state. This is going to definitely bring hurricane conditions through the state if this verifies. Not a lot of weakening across the Florida Peninsula. And it could exit out and actually re-intensify over that warm Gulf Stream. And some of the modeling is now 959, 964. So again, Carolinas are watching this close. Just as a possibility that we could see this later in the week, Thursday, Friday, as this thing exits Florida. Other things to think about. Obviously, storm surge is big. The path that it takes, you got to remember the north side is not going to get as much storm surge because the winds are going to be rotating up in from the north. Storm surge is going to be the heaviest as our storm direction and a little bit to the south. Another thing to think about is when our system ends up on the other side of the state, if it does do that, remember, counterclockwise flow, we're going to have the heaviest storms building over the Atlantic and the Gulf Stream and coming in on the north side of center. So kind of shifts on the other side. We'll start to see more storms pushing in. And that could mean surge. That could mean, Jacksonville area, Brunswick again, Savannah. So definitely watching the possibility of that scenario. The other scenario is the GFS. The GFS 940, 950, a little bit of weakening because of that approaching front, a little bit of dry air, some wind shear. Kind of stalls it. The steering currents are weak. Earlier today, it actually parked it over the peninsula and brought a lot of rain. So that's one scenario. Hey, at one point the Panhandle seemed safe, but the GFS now is kind of wiggling back west. But the GFS hasn't had the best track record. The only reason that you might want to consider that as a possibility is the Canadian model is now doing the same thing, strengthening a little bit, feeling a weakness and lack of steering currents, and gets pulled up towards Panhandle. So there's two scenarios there. Something something to think about for sure. An idea here. This is just the wind path of the Euro. Just kind of showing you how the strongest winds could reach well inland. A lot of folks don't realize that we can still have inland effects well past landfall. Just keep that in mind, especially a fast-moving hurricane. The wind will still be inland. And then, of course, as our storm redevelops off the coast, these stormy squalls are going to start coming in and really increase the winds here along the coast as our storms come in. So this is just what it would look like. If a track goes north, these winds obviously would go with it. This is just based on the latest Euro track. And then the last thing is that intensity I want to talk about. The H-Wharf has been really consistent, showing a very strong system here in the Gulf. The track on the H-Wharf is not the best, but we are seeing 950 millibar on the H-Wharf, and the H-Wharf does a very good job with intensity. So just throwing it out there, H-Wharf, pretty strong system in the Gulf, 948. Gulf conditions are extremely conductive for at least development down here. Once it reaches some of this front, we're going to get some dry air get wrapped around in it and some wind shear, which is going to blow more of the convection and storms off to the Florida West Coast regardless. So again, that's going to up the rain chances as our wind shear comes in strong from the west because of that cold front. So bottom line, real quick, I guess, here's the deal. The only change from this morning is a tick slower system, forward speed, still 115 mile an hour, a little bit of movement to the north, and that's it. The spaghetti models are kind of trending a little bit to the north. That might be what we're watching for, is when that trend stops and once things start, getting tighter on confidence. So there you go. But hey, we still got the cone actually below Florida. There's a chance that we could miss Florida. It'd be a Bahama threat, but we'll see. All right, well, there's the latest. We'll be live in the morning tomorrow at 9:19 Eastern right here on YouTube, and I'll be doing another quickie in the morning going over all the overnight models. So I usually try to get them up at least by 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern. So look for that. That's it. Have a great night. Bye-bye.